Like seriously, I am 10 times more a fan of this product than I was a week ago. Okay, so we have been over at the factory. We left the hotel around 7 a.m. We've, been here now a couple days. We're going to be here for the rest of the week. We are learning a ton of stuff. It's really, really cool. It's been a really neat experience. Anyways, I just want to call Michael, see how things are going back at the shop or at ROA, and kind of see how things are going. And I wanted to give him some updates. So I'm going to give him a shout.
Hey, what's up, Shane?
What's up? How you doing? How are things going back in the promised land?
How's it being out in Wisconsin?
Oh, it's beautiful. Really nice, actually. It's not too hot here. So.
Did you get my cheese?
No, I haven't gotten any cheese yet. Believe it or not, we have been going nonstop. Woke up, my alarm was off in 6. Well, I was supposed to be 5:50 a.m., but I messed up on the time because I'm an hour difference. But we pretty much woke up and went straight to the factory. Anyway, it's amazing, Michael. I am so blown away with the thoughtfulness that goes into the product.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that...
It's just Steve comes out and he tells us, oh, it's good, it's this, and Isaac's that, and I actually think Steve is fun. One of the things he says is, Isaac's one of the most innovative people he's ever met in his life. Just being around him, and as he tells about the process and the materials, you really see that. It really shines through that. Well, Jordan, what do you think? Do you feel like that's the theme?
I was honestly blown away 3 or 4 times just by his ingenuity, and he's focused on longevity and quality, and you don't see any of those things in almost every other RV. He does things right.
To me, it feels like he's trying to build something that lasts beyond him.
Yeah. Trying to create a legacy, something that's actually worth that you can put your name on, where in most of the industry, for most of the things, it's well, how can we do this the cheapest possible and still get away with it?
And then they just and these people, they'll just buy it. It's a consumable. They'll buy it and just trade it in or throw it away.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of our culture today is recycle. We just recycle everything. Nothing's built to last, and you're gonna hand it down to a kid. It's all about just you get it, you use it, and it has a shelf life. And we've accepted that kind of as a culture that's just how things are.
Yeah.
Things just break, and it's cheaper to buy a new one than to fix them.
No, it's true. It's 100% true. I sincerely have been blown away with, I feel like the thought that's gone into everything. Every time I ask him, why that? Why this? Why that? He's like, oh, well, we did this research and we took this one out and we used that one and we used that one, and then we went around and we asked this company, the engineers, and it's wow, you've actually really thought about that. It's not just sure, I'll buy it and throw it in, and it is what it is. A lot of times when I've worked with other companies and I've been why do you use that? And they're well, we looked at 3 or 4 different ones, and that was one of the, for what it is, that was one of the best prices, or that was the cheapest one, or sometimes it's that was a good quality one. He really focuses on finding what he feels, or what the industry feels as is the best.
He's going deeper. It's not just that first level. The first level is oh, somebody said this is a really good quality, so we use it.
Yeah.
It's you found that one, and then you went deeper with why is it good quality, and why do you use this, and where do you get your parts that go into that part. It's not just the first level. He goes into a deeper level of why. They do their own research, and instead of relying on somebody else to say
selling
this is good.
Yes.
He goes into it and figures it out and knows for himself that this is good.
Yeah.
You called me yesterday and you told me 5 other things that we haven't even talked about that were wow, you researched to the point and got to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
To where there's no more question why. It's got to he gets to the point there's no reason to ask why. You have the answer.
And-
Quality.
Yeah, and the whole floor is waterproof, completely waterproof. You can submerge the floor, and there's no wood in it. You could go as deep as you want because it's all waterproof. They actually think it will float.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, probably. That's our next video.
Exactly.
We're going to take the Xplore out on the lake.
That's exactly what he said, and we're sitting around with all our technicians. They're all like, yeah, we think it will float. And they're like, hey, you could still camp because you could just climb to the roof and stay in the rooftop tent. Isaac was like, yeah, it might sink down like maybe 3 or so feet, but I think it would still stay afloat. Super excited to share this stuff with people. I think it's going to be tremendous
It's huge.
value. Yeah.
You know, and it's impressive, it's amazing, and just to understand the real reason why things are done gives you much value, you know.
That's about it for now, so I better get going. I think I might be taking the wrong road, so I need to pay attention to my GPS.
Thanks for calling. I love getting updates.
So this is the fiberglass. Is this the back side or the front side?
This is the front side, protective film on it. So this is what they reference as sheet glass.
Okay.
So a lot of times your FRP we were talking about, fiberglass or reinforced plastic, people will call that fiberglass.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong. It is fiberglass.
Yeah.
But it's fiberglass reinforced plastic.
Yeah.
So this is a true fiberglass, through in and the whole thing. No plastic, just traditional fiberglass.
Yeah.
There is a wood backer, and the purpose of that is when they make this at the factory, they got to have something to pour the resins and the fiberglass onto.
Okay.
And so they use this wood backer. So it's not glued to it, it's used as a mold. So there's a resin and fiberglass that's basically poured right onto the plywood. So it's infused to the plywood. So this can't separate. It's impossible. It will not, never has, never will. It can't delaminate. It's not laminated to begin with.
Yeah.
So, but it is a wood backer.
No, it's because that's the difference between the FRP. It's a thin piece of plastic, infused fiberglass, whatever.
And then they'll glue that
And they glue that
to the wood backer.
at the manufacturing. Like they spray down some glue, throw that on it, and then put it through the pincher or whatever,
Exactly,
like
the
our
pinch roller.
pinch
Yep.
roller. And then that's essentially it's gluing it there. But if they use a cheap glue, or if it gets hot and it melts, or water gets in between it, you're gonna have separation because they put it together in the first place.
Exactly.
And so you're saying, you were explaining this yesterday, how they lay this out.
So all the, it's like one continuous sheet. Wherever there's a seam, you can see the resins bonded together. So even though it's a wood backer, it's not glued to. It's
Now they put the fiberglass down as a liquid resin.
yes, yep, the resin and the fiberglass, the fibers of the fiberglass.
Yeah.
And that's where you find some differences. This particular company, they use some of the highest quality, the smallest strands of fiberglass, so that you can barely see. You can't really see the fiber. And that's because on top of it is half of this layer you can kind of see. It's a gel coat, so no different than like a boat. So it's true sheet glass.
Yeah.
So scratches, dings, rock chips, all those things can be easily repaired. And it also gives it the best shine.
Now the color, explain the color, because like my car, I paint it. Usually
So the
fiberglass
colors-
is white.
The color's in the resin itself, so it's throughout the glass.
Okay.
And so a relatively deep. It would take a tremendously deep scratch gouge to get through the color.
Okay.
You're darn near to the wood by the time you get through the color.
Okay, so it's not like a boat or a car that has fiberglass. If I scratch my key across it, I can see white right underneath.
Exactly. It's like a painted top coat. And this,
Okay.
we gotta go real deep.
Okay, so your color is mixed and infused with the actual fiberglass resin that they pour down.
Exactly. So it's the thickest fiberglass available, which makes it the strongest. You see the least amount of fibers in it because we're able to put the thickest gel coat.
Yeah.
The color itself is 85 mil thick. So we end up with the thickest fiber sheet glass that they make.
Yeah.
And we do that for strength because everything works together. We want this to work along with our aluminum framing to help the integrity of the entire trailer. Also, we want a flat wall.
Yeah.
So if it's thin, it can get noodly, get wavy. We want it nice and flat. And we like highest gloss finish you could get.
Yeah.
And the only way to get that is with the thickest, highest quality. So compared to your FRP, yeah,
Yeah, that's like almost 3 times
thicker.
than what I saw on the other one. Like,
Yeah.
you can see there's still almost, I could put 3 more cards there. No, it looks high end. It's the cost of this versus that other stuff,
I
that
would
roll,
say it's 5 to 10 times more.
5 to 10 times more expensive than the standard.
Yeah, significantly more.
Yeah, and it looks like it's almost 3 times thicker
Yes. Yep.
than that standard stuff. Because I can see myself, if I scratch that, I could scratch right through it
For sure.
to the wood.
And crack it and wreck it, you know. And so again, for the off-road aspect of things and the hot, cold, extreme elements
Yeah.
that we anticipate these trailers to be subject to, we wanted the most rigid product we could source. And this is the highest of quality, thickest sheet glass that you can buy anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah. Have you ever seen this on a trailer?
The only time I've ever seen this particular product on a trailer was a $2.5 million Newmar. Not even all Newmar Class A motorhomes use it.
Oh, so like the high end.
They've got, there's several grades of this. There's the same looking material that's thinner
Yeah.
and lighter weight and less expensive. We're one of the, if not the only travel trailer that uses this.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody.
No.
I mean, like you can tell, like if you go and walk through a lot, you can tell just by looking at the trailer itself. You can see.
It's a higher glass. It's definitely more rigid to touch. And we're bonding it again every 16 inches or less on our framing. And so that's how we get a nice as flat a wall as possible. And the strength is second to none. So for rock impact and rubbing up against tree limbs and things like that, it's going to handle the trail far better than aluminum.
Yeah.
Aluminum's paper thin. Once you scratch it, you're done for.
Yeah,
You're
no,
gonna-
aluminum is
You're
really
gonna have
hard
to paint it, repaint it.
repair it.
This, without a doubt, is the easiest to repair out of any product used on any trailer I've seen.
So later on, we should do get some scratch, get a knife or scratch it, and then buff it out or something.
Yep. And I'm confident we could scratch, pick any trailer, put a big old gouge in it, and within 5 minutes I can have it looking brand new. So can anybody. So could you. So could customers. It's really easy.
Yeah, that's.
And easy to restore. Wax it, buff it, shine it. So after a couple of years of trail life, it's going to look pretty rough.
Yeah.
You know, just like anything else. But the beauty of this true gel coat fiberglass is you can actually buff it, restore it, polish it, paint. You don't buff paint on your car. You're buffing the clear coat on top of it. And aluminum doesn't have much, if any, clear coat. And FRP has none. So it's just plastic. You can't buff plastic.
Yeah,
It's one of the only products that you can actually restore.
that's really cool. That's incredible.
Truly restore. Not no band-aids, truly restore. So that would increase the value, resale value, things like that.
Yeah.
Polish it up, make it look good as new.
Well, it's so funny is because like, no offense to any YouTube comments out, we love the comments, right? Coming in from everybody, ask questions, and if we miss something, we'll try to throw it in there later. But like, you get some people that don't understand this stuff, and they go, "Why is it that much money?" Or "Why does it?" It's like, well, if you're gonna spend fiberglass that's 5 to 10 times the expensive, that's just there's a cost to these things, right? Everything that we've been talking about, from the insulation to the flooring to the walls to the ceiling to the fiberglass, it's better quality, right?
And it all costs a little bit more, you know. But we try to balance it across the board, top to bottom, front to back, inside to out, so that you were trying to source and use the best quality materials we can get our hands on for every aspect of the trailer.
Yeah.
Just so the product as a whole
Yeah.
has the best quality that we can get. He said you want to look at cabinet shop.
Yeah.
We do build all of our cabinets in-house. We got a couple of cabinet makers that have been here forever. That's all they do is make the cabinetry.
Yeah. Now the latches, I think, are cool to point out because these are unique.
So our latches are unique in the sense that it's a locking latch. So, you know, just like you've seen, you push it in, locks the door.
Well, this is huge, because if you're claiming to be an off-road trailer
Exactly.
manufacturer,
Yep,
and your cabinet doors don't lock and they're just going to swing open when you're going off-road.
exactly. That's the whole reason behind it,
Yeah.
is making a quality of locking, latching cabinet door. And even inside our cabinets, You'll notice we got lots of dividers in every compartment for that same reason, so that you got either contents of your cabinets aren't rolling.
Oh, that's
They're smaller compartments by design, so that if you got your bowls or something in the upper cabinet, it's contained within that one little cabinet. It's a lot cheaper, a lot easier to build, just one big cabinet. So these cabinets are challenging to build because you got a big long cabinet that has 3-4 doors.
Yeah.
3-4 different separate compartments.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I've seen that. I'm actually in a trailer recently, and it's 3 doors, and you open it, and it's all one big long.
Yes.
So if you put
one big opening.
your
you put something in the
toothbrush
front,
here, it's going to be in the back.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And so,
to like divide it.
And another thing to point out in all of our cabinetry, so you see these fairly long, large bolts. We've got a design where we install these cabinets in the trailer. These are going to go all the way through into the aluminum.
Oh, wow.
All of our upper cabinets are attached to the wall, through the wall, into the aluminum.
Okay.
And so, again, off-road scenario, jostling up and down the road, they'll never fall off. And just kind of the design, the method that we use is, again, all about strength. And with weight consciousness in mind as well.
Yeah.
Trying to balance that more for strength, and then secondly for weight.
Now you screw to the ceiling too, right?
We also attach to the ceiling. We got cleats here, so we are attached to the ceiling. We're attached to the wall all the way through, and then underneath all of our cabinets, they'll also be attached to the wall, and then an additional panel will go on here to conceal all of this. Because we have lights and wires and things like that that'll run through the cabinets as well.
Okay, so you're going the walls, aluminum studs, and the ceiling, which the ceiling has pretty thick.
Yeah, it ends up being a really thick wood because we got the tongue and groove on there, some more paneling on there.
What kind of wood is the tongue and groove to?
That's a cedar.
So you're screwing in at this portion up to the cedar wood, which is going to be a
very
good
strong,
support.
and then behind the cedar is a layer of plywood. So
yeah, okay.
So very strong cabinetry. We got a lot of confidence, and you've proven that with some of your off-road adventures.
Yeah.
You arrived at your destination, and the cabinets are still
on. Are all like. That's actually been one of the impressive things is we've taken it. We went to this place outside of our shop on the other side of a lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rugged terrain, and I had it bouncing all over the place. And the only thing that opened, and it was my fault because I didn't latch it good, was the fridge.
Sure.
But that's not your design. That's Furion's fault. That is the way I look at it. So like I kept on going, and I'm like, there has to be something broken. There has to be. Open it, and nothing was broken. Not even the soda pop can that fell out of the fridge.
I remember that.
It wasn't broken, but it fell out. So.
Yep. We also utilize a fully adjustable Euro hinge, and so they're a concealed hinge, and they're 6-way adjustable.
Okay.
So that way, with this latch design, alignment of the door is critical. Again, with the jostling up and down the off-road trails, things are subject to move.
Yeah.
But at least we've got adjustable hinges. Again, not real common in the RV industry.
Yeah.
That they're more expensive, but they're higher quality and they're fully adjustable. Trying to provide a trailer that you can.
Well, like these latches are gonna run how much about roughly?
Around like $20 a pop.
Yeah. And that's amazing is because like the most common latch that you'll see in the US industry is like it's like a little needle with two little plastic rollers, and those are like 90 cents out.
Correct.
Home Depot.
Yep. Little roller catch they call them.
Yeah, a roller catch. And then of course once you start off-roading, those things they just pop open.
They don't work.
Oh yeah,
they don't work.
We went and I did a race a long time ago with a bunch of friends of mine, and we were in a motorhome with those catches, and I made a really sharp turn really fast. The door opened, and a jar of pickle juice this big flew out and shattered all over the ground. And it was like, oh, it stunk so bad everywhere. It's trying to clean out the pickle juice forever. So those are the details that I don't think people appreciate. You know what I mean? It's like 90-cent latch versus $20 latch.
Exactly.
That's what you get. You know, the experience is much better. So it also costs more, right?
It does. Yeah. So essentially it's like building one at a time. It's just times 4.
Yeah.
If we're doing 4 or 6 or
yeah.
So it's basically no different than building one trailer at a time.
Yeah.
And it's just we're doing them in ×4. So if you're going to put that ladder on,
Yeah.
you put that ladder on, then you go put the next ladder on, next ladder, next ladder on, then you move to the next task. Instead of an assembly line where all you do is put a ladder on, next trailer comes in, you put that ladder on, next
Yeah.
trailer comes that ladder on. The assembly line can be a more efficient method,
Yeah.
but we want everybody here is highly skilled and we want to keep them engaged. Let's say you're in a bad mood that day and you're putting ladders on, you're going to put a whole bunch of ladders on improperly or poorly, or if you're not trained.
Yeah.
Here we've got such diversity, you get everybody's set of eyes on every little task multiple times.
That's cool.
And so it helps in that sense where then we kind of feed off each other.
You feel like it creates better quality. It's
Better
because the guys
quality
are
and it's a better
checking.
work environment.
Better work environment too.
That's the main advantage is it's a better work environment that the guys like and take pride in, and makes it a lot funner
Yeah.
to build. And it's not a job, it's a passion and a career, and
So you do it for the guys mostly. It
pretty
seems
much,
like.
yeah. We're less interested in quantity, more
Yeah.
interested in just fun first,
Yeah.
and then quality and
Fun and quality is, well, like what's funny is I feel like if people are having fun, they do better work, right?
oh, for sure.
If you hate your work, if you hate
Yeah.
what you're doing, my wife is Latin, right, from Peru,
Mhm.
but she always says she cooks it with love.
Sure.
And it tastes better that way, And I'm like, if she's in a bad mood, she's like, I don't want to cook because
Yeah.
anything I make will be bad. It won't be good for you. It won't do you any good. So it's like, just buy something on the way home, right? And I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's true. It's because if you're passionate, you love what you're doing, it shows through your work, right? So that makes sense. People don't realize, like, I feel like in this world, people have kind of demonized the top down, trickling down, but it's a real thing, right? This idea of like, if you're in a bad environment, you get bad service, you have a bad
Yeah.
experience,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yep.
I always say, like, when I go into a place and I get like, I just have a horrible experience, I'm usually not mad at the clerk because I'm like, her manager is probably just
The whole
railing on her
establishment,
Yeah,
the whole
it's-
organization is unhappy.
yeah, exactly. And then that reflects onto the consumer.
Yeah.
So if everybody here is having fun and they're happy, they're going to be making better stuff.
Yep.
Nicer stuff is going to come out, and the end user is going to get it, and they're going to be happier too, is because it was built by somebody that was passionate about their job. And
It is true.
I think so.
In all industries, the more complex the product,
Yeah.
or the service,
The more
then
expensive.
the more important it is.
Yeah.
Going through the drive-through, probably care less about the service you're going to get at the drive-through at McDonald's than the service you're going to get at a fancy restaurant downtown.
Yeah.
The trailer is a really complex product, so people care a lot more about everything to do with it
Yeah.
than they would minuscule little things.
That makes
so.
sense. It's the higher end product that
Typically.
you want a better experience with that than you want.
Less about the product, more about the experience.
And you really only have certain choices, right?
Good, fast, or cheap.
Good, fast, or cheap. The quality.
Right. So good, fast, or cheap, you get to pick two. So if you want something cheap and fast, it's not going to be very good.
Yeah.
So a lot of your low-end trailers, they're cheap and you want it now. They're dime a dozen. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So they're cheap and they're fast.
Yeah.
They're not good. If you want something good and fast,
It's going to be expensive.
right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be cheap.
Exactly.
So if you want it now and you want it really good, it's not going to be cheap.
You're going to pay for it. That
And if you want something that's cheap and good, it ain't going to be fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might have to wait for
a long time.
it's hard to find that right balance, but the place we want to avoid is the cheap and fast.
Yeah.
That's where we definitely want to avoid. But I mean, that translates in all industries. It's not just trailer manufacturing. It's
Well, and
any and all industries. Again, your McDonald's analogy, that's cheap and fast, but it's not
Yeah.
real good.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you want to go sit
Not
at a
good
nice
for you.
fancy restaurant, candlelit, what's the one thing? It's not fast.
yeah. You
You
sit
know?
down, it takes time.
And so
That's what we always say about Peruvian food. It's my wife's food. It's really good, but it takes forever to
well,
cook.
actually, your home cooked meal is the cheap and good.
Yeah.
It's not fast
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of work to cook a meal. You go to a high-end restaurant, it's actually relatively fast,
Yeah.
but it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's good and it's fast because
Yeah.
you can sit down for an hour and have a meal, where if you got to make it at home, it's going to take you 3 hours.
Yeah, it's true. So it's kind of a balance.
It,
so.
it goes in everything.
Feels like this is a trailer that you can keep for your entire life and hand down to your kids. There's not very many manufacturers out in the industry or in the world that think like that. That's what I'm learning from this entire thing. If I could sum it all up, that's kind of what I would say. So hope you have enjoyed this tour going through the factory. You know, I thought it was an awesome product, and I've been working with them for a while, but spending almost an entire week here has really opened my eyes to see how much they care, and that there's a lot of thought going into this product. And I've become 10 times more in love with this product than I was even a month ago, even last week. I'm really seeing the value of what they're doing here. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.